Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kit and this is my world. Thank you very much for joining me. In this episode I'm going to be doing yet another tag, and this is a delightful one by my good friend Sam Dawson at Sam Dawson. I'll leave a link in the description. This tag is called the Mother Goose-Hunt book tag, and it's based on nursery rhymes. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Question number 1. Humpty Dumpty. Find a book where the death of a main character is not a surprise. Well, I'm going to say The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Of course, it's, spoiler alert, Aslan. Now, this one's kind of a little bit sort of yes and no. It depends if you're familiar with the allegorical nature of the book, of course. If, like me, and like I hope most young readers, you know nothing about the allegory and you're just reading it as a story, hopefully the Aslan on the stone table moment comes as a huge shock and a surprise and makes you cry your eyes out and have a lot of emotional reaction. That's what it's supposed to do, and that's certainly how I responded to it. I was crying for years every time I read that book, long before I ever discovered the allegorical nature. And once I became aware that Aslan was representing someone else, it ruined it for me, and I haven't cried since. It has no emotional impact on me at all now. But also it doesn't come as a surprise, and it wouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who already knew that that was the story that it represented, I suppose. Question number 2. Jack and Jill. Find a book where a secondary character is just along for the ride. Well, I'm going to say Bridget Walker, otherwise known as Vicky, from the Swallows and Amazons books. In Swallows and Amazons, she's a baby, and she's referred to as Vicky because of her resemblance to old Queen Victoria. And she's essentially the ship's baby. She gets mentioned a few times, she gets dragged along on a couple of trips, but really she has no involvement in the story at all. And through the later books, she grows a little bit. She becomes kind of an annoying smaller sibling, and they refer to her from then on as Bridget, and she kind of tags along on a few of the adventures, but she lends nothing to the books at all. She's kind of annoying, she's a bit of a pain in the arse, she's a bit of an anchor around their legs as well. They can't have the proper adventures because they've got to look after this annoying little brat. So she's along for the ride, and personally I wish she wasn't. Question number 3. Hickory Dickory Dock. Find a book with time travel. Outlander. Obviously Outlander. My favourite time travel book of all time. This is a historical romance with a strong time travel theme running through it, and it ticks all of my boxes. It's incredibly romantic, it's very adventurous, it's got the whole time travel thing, so it takes place in multiple time periods on multiple continents, so you get to see lots of historical events happen. There's a gay theme, there's just so much in Outlander that I enjoy, and it's also one of the best book to TV adaptations I've ever seen as well. I really, really love Outlander. So that was a no-brainer, but also honourable mentions to Narnia. Of course, there is the whole time difference between Narnia and this world, allowing Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy to return to their old kingdom thousands of years after they reigned as kings and queens. So there's that sort of time travel thing. And Box of Delights. The Box of Delights, of course, enables Kay Harker to travel through time. And the story of the amulet allows Cynthia, Roger, Anthea and someone else, I can't remember the names of all the children, but they travel through time as well. They travel to ancient Egypt and ancient Britain, Babylon, Atlantis. They go to all sorts of exciting places by use of the magical amulet. So basically all of the books I read have the potential for time travel because it's fantasy. Well, not all of the books, but a lot of my books seem to have time travel as a theme. Question number 4. Row, row, row your boat. Find a book with a nautical theme. And having just said that all my books have a time travel theme, most of them seem to also have a nautical theme as well. This is a very easy question to answer. Immediately, all of the Swallows and Amazons books, that's 12 classic British children's books, they all are based almost exclusively around sailing. Then, of course, there's Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That is completely nautically themed. The King's Buccaneer by Raymond E. Feist. That's one of his Midkemia series. It's kind of in the middle of the set. There's lots of voyaging in the other books as well. But The King's Buccaneer is very specifically a nautical sort of book. And The Far Kingdoms by Alan Cole and Chris Bunch. Again, that's another ocean voyage book. And there are many, many more. It wouldn't be difficult for me to get a big stack of books from my shelves and show you all of them that have a nautical theme. Because, again, ocean voyages seem to be a staple of the fantasy genre, or at least the fantasy genre that I love reading, which is kind of old fantasy now, because I don't seem to like any of the more modern stuff. That'll be a video for another time. Question number 5. There was a crooked man. Find a book with a misunderstood character. Well, this is one of millions of books by William Shatner. Here's another one. Here's another one. This poor gentleman is terribly misunderstood. Everyone thinks he's a dick, and he isn't. He's just misunderstood, don't you know? He says so in all his books. Poor old William Shatner. He's got this reputation for being a complete knob, and according to him, he isn't. So there you go. It's in print. It's proven. It's in black and white. William Shatner is not a dick. Stop misunderstanding him. Question number 6. Mary Had a Little Lamb. Find a book with an unrequited love plotline. Oh, well, of course, I'm going to have to go straight back to Outlander again. This is the love that Lord John Grey has towards Jamie Fraser. Jamie is straight. He's in love with Claire Randall Fraser. She is kind of a shrew. I don't actually like Claire very much. I'm not a fan. She drives me crazy. She's always shouting and being annoying. And I love John Grey. In my gay fantasy, John Grey and Jamie Fraser get together. I think they make a lovely couple. They have mutual respect. They enjoy each other's company. They discuss things. They play chess. They have a really good friendship. But John Grey's in love with him, and it's unrequited because Jamie has eyes only for Claire the Shrew. Question number 7. 10 Little Monkeys. Find a controversial book or author. Please note this is a safe and supportive community. Books or authors can sometimes become disrespectful and cause offence over time. We have learned from their mistakes. Lead by example and don't be a dick. Yes, really, the example that Sam gave on his video is a perfect example, and it's quite a brave thing to do as well. I struggle to find anything as good as that answer. But I'm going to say 2 people, one which I disagree with and don't think they're problematic, even though they're now considered problematic, and the other one who I think is one of the most problematic authors ever, and I despise. So the first one is Roald Dahl. I love Roald Dahl. I love his books. I can see and understand why people nowadays tend to consider Roald Dahl problematic, but I choose to ignore that because his books were magical, delightful. They brought happiness and escapism to me and countless children around the world, and he's dead now, so cancelling him is no punishment, so it's just pointless and stupid. You might as well just enjoy his books and recognise that they were of their time, and they're still masterpieces in my opinion. However, there is a certain British female author who wrote an undeservedly successful series of books, in my opinion, who is so filled with hate and homophobia and transphobia and all the other phobias, and so despicable that I don't even want to say her name on my channel. Question number 8. Polly put the kettle on. Find a book with outdated gender stereotypes. Well, honestly, most of my favourite classic children's literature. But I don't care. Question number 9. Twinkle Twinkle ABCs. Find 2 books with near identical plot lines. I'm coming up blank. Question number 10. Old Mother Hubbard. Find a book with an amusing grandmother figure. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go back to the Empire trilogy again. This is the Empire trilogy by Raymond E. Feist and Janny Wirtz, and in it there is a character called Nakoya, who starts off as a nursemaid, sort of nanny. Nursemaids do the breastfeeding thing, don't they? She doesn't get her tits out. She's old. She's a nanny. She's raised several generations of this family, and she's now desperately trying to protect and nurture this 17-year-old innocent girl who has suddenly been thrust into a rulership position. So Nakoya, although she starts off as a nanny, she kind of becomes first advisor. And she's very irascible. She's grumpy. She's old, so she's arthritic, and she's always in a bad mood, but she's full of love. She's very maternal. She calls Mara, the main female character, she calls her granddaughter of my heart, and so she's very much a grandmotherly figure. Her hair's always crooked because she can't quite reach up to adjust her hairpins. She's a really well-drawn, interesting character, and she has a very moving death. She dies very heroically, and I've just spoiled it. I'm really sorry. I don't do spoilers, but I just did. Oh, and the thing is, I needed to say that because it's a really good death. So I apologise for the spoiler. Do you know what? I'll put a little thing. I'll do a little thing. Yeah. And that's it, all 10 questions. Sam, you made an amazing tag. Thank you very, very much for tagging me. It's a rare instance where I was actually tagged not only by another human being, rather than just stealing it like I usually do, but also I was tagged by the originator, and that's very exciting. It makes me feel like a proper person. And on that note, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you haven't already, you know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share, comment, do all the good stuff, and I will see you next time. See you later.